Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to get started. It's a little bit after 7. We're going to swear our new elected officials for the city of Worcester. First of all, I'm going to say everybody who's an elected official, we're going to ask if you have somebody special here for you that you want to bring them up and have them hold the Bible while you take your oath. That would be wonderful. And we'll get that all set up. But let's start off with Mayor Reynolds. Stand facing the audience, and if you want to stand on this side, and you face the audience, and place your hand on the Bible. All right. I, Robert Reynolds,
I, Robert Reynolds,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio,
that I will uphold the charter
that I will uphold the charter
and the ordinances of the city of Worcester,
and the ordinances of the city of Worcester,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
and impartially
and impartially
perform the duties
perform the duties
of my office
of my office
as mayor of the city of Worcester,
as mayor of the city of Worcester,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. All right, next up we have President Sanders. You ready? Okay. All right, I want you to face the audience for everybody, okay? Hold this. All right. I, Craig Sanders, do solemnly swear or affirm
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio,
that I will uphold the charter and ordinances of the city of Worcester,
that I will uphold the charter and ordinances of the city of Worcester,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
perform the duties
perform the duties
of my office
of my office
as the President of City Council of Worcester,
as the President of the City Council of Worcester.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. All right, Mr. Gaffey. Ready? Good job. Here you go. I think you can do it. All right.
I,
Lucas Gaffey,
Lucas Gaffey,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio,
that I will uphold the charter and ordinances of the city of Worcester,
that I will uphold the charter and ordinances of the city of Worcester,
and that I will faithfully
and I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
perform the duties of my office
perform the duties of my office
as Ward 1 Council Representative
as Ward 1 Council Representative
for the city of Worcester,
for the city of Worcester,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. All right, Mr. Malta. Okay, you should know the drill by now. There we go. All right, I, Christopher Malta,
Christopher Malta,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio,
that I will uphold
that I will uphold
the charter and ordinances
the charter and ordinances
of the city of Worcester,
of the city of Worcester,
and that I will faithfully
and I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
perform the duties
perform the duties
of my office
of my office
as Ward 3 Representative
as Ward 3 Representative
for the city of Worcester,
for the city of Worcester,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. Mr. Abernathy. Hello, how are you? Big job, here you go. Turn around to the audience for me. Perfect. All right. I, Michael Abernathy Jr.,
Michael Abernathy Jr.
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
that I support the Constitution of the United States,
that I support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio,
that I will uphold the charter
that I will uphold the charter
and ordinances
and ordinances
of the city of Worcester,
of the city of Worcester,
and that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
perform the duties of my office
perform the duties of my office
as at-large council representative
as at-large council representative
for the city of Worcester.
for the city of Worcester,
So help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, and that's all for the swearing in before the council meeting. Thank you, everybody, so much for coming. And congratulations to all our new elected officials. All my elected officials
Different, yet the same.
I'd rather see
now we're live.
Got it.
You good? All right, well, good evening, and welcome to the regularly scheduled Worcester City Council meeting held this Tuesday, January 2nd. Tonight's meeting is in council chambers and live streamed on YouTube, and it is after, well, it's close enough to 7:30. Ms. Hamilton, would you, as clerk of council, please call the roll?
Mr. Abernathy.
Here.
Pardon my voice, I'm sorry. Mr. Gaffey.
Here.
Ms. Knappich.
Here.
Mr. Malta.
Here.
Mr. Myers.
Here.
Ms. Warden.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum, and agenda will remain as presented. At this time, I'll ask we stand and join the members of the City Council in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, just as a reminder, which I had missed, our next council meeting will be on Tuesday, January 16th, due to the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday on Monday, the 15th. With that, do I have a motion to approve the minutes from December 18th?
Motion to approve.
Mr. Myers, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Abernathy, please call the roll, please.
I think that one's by affirmation. All
Is
those
it?
in favor,
Okay.
and then all those opposed.
All right, for all that want to approve the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. We'll move on to communications from our old administration and our new mayor, Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of council, happy new year. Looking forward to working with you in the coming year. So far, it's almost 2 days in, and things have gone smoothly, so I don't know what can go wrong. Yesterday, I did come by, tried to keep Bob to make sure I could get in the door. It worked. I didn't go inside the door, but I thought I could open it. Today, I severely tested the patience of our IT department, but that's a work in process that's going to continue. Not much to report at this point. I want to thank everybody that's helped in the transition. Mr. Brenneman, who was here, they've done a lot since the general election, helped me get on board. Mr. Montgomery, the HR staff, the IT staff, really appreciate that. Looking forward to working with you all, serving our community. I think we all recognize this is a great place and we have much to be proud of, but we've also got room for improvement, and we should always be striving to be better than we are. So with that, I'll just turn it over to Mr. Montgomery.
I didn't really have much to share. I know Andre and I each had a memo that you should have received. One was the fee schedule for, I tried to explain a little bit more for our new members that that's something, all of our fees are in fee schedule, and so by ordinance, if there's going to be any changes, we submit those to the council. And there's no comments in 30 days that we go into effect. We typically do that around this time after the budget passes, and we know what we can put in for water, sewer, those kind of things. So those were the last week.
I'm required by ordinance to report what's called link deposit program, and I reported that we had no activity. So a whole lot of nothing to report.
No news is good news.
And so then, just to clarify, Joel, or Mr. Montgomery, then, so the related to the fee schedule, at this point, there's nothing that we need to do to enact that at this point. It will just automatically fall into place on February 1 per the memo. Okay. So this, the comment I would make to the rest of council, to the council members, is at this point, if you have any questions, concerns, or whatnot over that, please direct that to Mr. Montgomery ASAP, because at this point, like I say, it will become effective February 1. All right, well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, administration, for the update and communications. And at this point, we will, our next item of, next item on the agenda this evening is our council organization. And in light of the fact that, as we well know, Mr. Reynolds is no longer on council and is now the mayor, we do need to fill the rest of his unexpired term. And at this point, I would ask if anyone on council has a nomination or motion to fill that seat.
President
Myers?
Sanders, I would be honored to nominate Stephen Hussein to fill the position vacated by Mr. Reynolds for city council.
All right,
Second?
seconded by Ms. Knappich. All right, with that, Ms. Hamilton, if you would call a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Abernathy,
Yes.
Ms. Warden,
Yes.
Mr. Malta,
Yes.
Mr. Gaffey,
Yes.
Ms. Knappich,
Yes.
Mr. Myers.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Mr. Huzai, you are now on city council. If you want to, you and your family want to step up, and we'll get you sworn in and get you seated, and we'll keep going to work.
Okay, we're gonna do this just like we did when we swore in the other members. If you're gonna come up and hold the Bible for us, have you stand in the center. Turn out to the audience. Turn out to the audience for me. There we go. And you place your right hand. I, Stephen, is it Huzai? Huzai. Stephen Huzai. Do solemnly swear or affirm. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio. That I will uphold the charter. And ordinances. Of the city of Worcester. And that I will faithfully. And impartially. Perform the duties. Of my office. As at-large council representative. For the city of Worcester. So help me God. Congratulations.
Take one of your days.
All right, Mr. Huzai, congratulations, welcome. We'll continue on with the meeting here. Our next portion of council organization is to approve our president pro tempore appointment, which at this point I have nominated Mr. Myers. And at this point, Ms. Hamilton, if you would call a roll call vote on that also, please.
Do you need a second?
Oh, I guess I do need a second.
I'll second.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Abernathy,
Yes.
Ms. Warden,
Yes.
Mr. Malta,
Yes.
Mr. Gaffey,
Yes.
Ms. Knappich,
Yes.
Mr. Myers,
I'll abstain.
Mr. Huzai.
Yes.
All right, well, thank you very much. Congratulations, Mr. Myers. I don't
Miss a meeting.
I don't plan on missing any meetings, but,
All right, I'll come get you.
the only way I might need a ride is if I'm out of town and something happens, so, yeah, okay, I'll keep that in mind.
For that, if he's really bad.
Happy to do it.
That's true, that's true. All right, our last council organization is to approve our committee assignments, which at this point I know were sent out last week, and they are in front of you this evening. And with that, if I can have a motion from council to accept or to approve the council assignments, or committee assignments.
So move to approve. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Jen.
So
I'll take the first or second. I
All
don't
right,
care.
Ms. Ward makes the motion, Ms.
Second.
Knappich seconds.
Oh.
Ms. Hamilton, if you'll call the roll, please.
Ms. Borden,
Yes.
Mr. Malta,
Yes.
Mr. Gaffey,
Yes.
Ms. Knappich,
Yes.
Mr. Myers,
Yes.
Mr. Huzay,
Yes.
Mr. Abernathy.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. Move on. Next item will be petitions, communications from the public. We have a liquor control request to transfer a license from Red Rover LLC to Parmar Oil at 1058 West Old Lincoln Way. If Ms. Hamilton, if you'll read that.
Liquor control request to transfer a license from Red Rover LLC to Parmar Oil at 1058 West Old Lincoln Way.
And with this, we have been given three options from the state to either have a hearing held in Columbus, in our county seat, or to not request any type of hearing. Do I have a motion for which one of those options, please?
Move to waive hearing?
Second.
Is that Mr. Abernathy? Okay. Do we call a roll on
I
that?
believe we do.
Okay, roll, call a vote, please.
Mr. Abernathy,
Yes.
Mr. Gaffey,
Yes.
Ms. Knappich,
Yes.
Mr. Malta,
Yes.
Mr. Myers,
Yes.
Ms. Borden,
Yes.
Mr. Huzay.
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, next we have communications from the public, which we have two people that have signed up, Shannon Waller and Matt Mariola. Both want to speak regarding the agenda item of the CRA for the Food Spear Local Roots. You guys might as well, I mean, whoever wants to speak first, you might as well, we'll do that now, and at that point, since it's the last item on the agenda tonight, I mean, if you want to stay, that's great, but at this point, if you want to speak now, then you don't have to wait for the entire meeting.
Come on, Sharon, you've done this before.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Is this working?
I don't know that it's on.
All right.
There you go.
There is now a green light. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Shannon Waller. I'm here as the Executive Director of Main Street Worcester. Also, I am a trustee for Food Sphere, and I was on their steering committee, so I'm very familiar with the organization. However, I am here on behalf of Main Street Worcester. My executive committee did consider this CRA and how it might affect the downtown, and they gave me their blessing to support this legislation. Local Roots has been really crucial to the downtown as an anchor business, and they've grown so amazingly in the past 10 years. It's brought a lot of people to our downtown. It's been great for the economy. And when their lease became towards the end of its term, there was a lot of consternation on the behalf of Main Street Worcester. It's like, can we keep them downtown? So we were very excited that they did find a new home right across the street, which will still bring people, their customers, to downtown and continue to serve as that anchor. And the CRA reinvestment legislation really is a good fit for this kind of a project. Food Sphere is a nonprofit. Local Roots is a co-op. This really is a community organization that serves a lot of local entrepreneurs and will really help with the growth and sustainability of our community. The Local Roots has purchased the building. We have it. We have to figure out how much utilization we can get out of the resources that we have. So Food Sphere is doing a lot of fundraising. The capital campaign is on. The amount of money that we can bring to bear will determine how great of an impact this business will have on the community. So we even in the strategic planning look at 3 tiers of, okay, if we get this basic threshold, we can do this much. We have the middle stage and we have the, oh wow, now we can have a whole solarium that has this wonderful event space. So that information is available, that's part of the capital campaign. So this CRA will really determine how far this mission can go. And the Food Sphere mission is to develop local food producers and food-based items in Worcester. And we have seen, even in just some of the businesses that have come out of Local Roots, Wootown Bagels started in Local Roots, the Curry Pot started in Local Roots. These businesses get started, get their traction in Local Roots, and then they go out and grow and graduate into bigger businesses that tend to want to stay downtown. So this is a great opportunity for us to continue to grow this wonderful organization, and on behalf of Main Street Worcester, we fully support that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shannon.
Stay on. Hi, everyone. Nice to speak in front of you. Thanks for your time. I don't know a lot of you, so I'm Matt Mariola. I'm a teacher at the College of Worcester. I've been at the college for 15 years, also raised in the community as well. I'm the president of Food Sphere. We're an all-volunteer board of directors, and I was elected as president about a year ago. And so I just want to maybe zoom out and just give you a little bit of a broader picture about what Food Sphere is all about to kind of understand this project. Shannon mentioned Curry Pot and Wootown Bagels. They're two of the big kind of success cases that have come out of the building of the local food infrastructure here in Wayne County. We want to support our local farmers and our local food entrepreneurs. They're success stories, but in some ways they came not because of, but in spite of the core mission of Local Roots. They came about because those entrepreneurs approached Local Roots and said, oh, Local Roots, you do local food. This is what you do, right? Can you help us move our businesses to the next level? And the staff and administration of Local Roots said, sure, it's not really what we do. We run a market, but we want to help local food entrepreneurs. So they kind of went above and beyond to make that happen. That process, though, led to the formation of a steering committee to say, look, this isn't really what Local Roots does. Fundamentally, Local Roots runs a market. We need a different organization to help these kinds of local food entrepreneurs. That's how Food Sphere was born. So Food Sphere mission, broadly speaking, is to support and catalyze local food entrepreneurs. What we're doing right now is we've partnered with Local Roots to be in the middle of this capital campaign to buy, expand, and renovate the building we're right on, until very recently was. So I think the one thing I just want to emphasize in terms of the CRA is we're in the middle of this fundraising campaign. This entire project is being driven by fundraising, both philanthropic dollars from local foundations, our local community members, and grants. Now that process, of course, is very, we don't know if the grants are going to come in or not. We put the applications out and we wait for them to come back in. So it is a touch and go process. Every dime of the fundraising is going towards the renovation and the purchase of the building. Not a single dollar of the fundraising is going towards operating funds of any of the organizations. So it's all for the revitalization of this, I guess you'd call it historic building, not super historic, but semi-historic building in downtown Worcester, which we believe will raise the value of the building. And so, as Shannon said, every little bit counts. And so we're investing or requesting the CRA, one, because it fits the vision of the CRA, but also because it's very much part of our fundraising effort to be able to leverage every bit of financial help we can. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, we have, next item would be committee reports and public hearings, but since we have had no committee meetings, and at this point we've not had any public hearings, we'll move into unfinished business, which at this point, we have a second reading on Resolution 2023-86 that will be introduced by Ms. Knappich, but first we'll have Ms. Hamilton read the resolution.
Resolution number 2023-86, a resolution imposing a moratorium on the granting or processing of permits for any building, structure, use, or change of use that would enable cultivation, processing, or retail sale of marijuana within the city of Worcester and allowing for immediate enactment.
Ms. Knappich, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much. This is a matter that came up at the last council meeting, As we all know, in November, the voters passed the law that allows Ohio to have recreational marijuana. However, before that really can take effect, substantially take effect, the state legislature has to come up with rules and policies and formats as to how things will actually run, how that process will take place. And by way of history, when Ohio legalized medicinal marijuana, the city did the same thing. We had a moratorium until the state figured out exactly what it was going to do. We frankly have to wait for the state to do anything anyhow, because without any rules, no one can do anything, including the growers, the buyers, the sellers, anything. So, and we had some further discussion last week, our last meeting, about some other things that we'd like the city to look into, and I'm assuming that you are doing that with respect to being able to prohibit that smoking out of doors in public settings and that type of thing. So I would like to leave this on second reading to let our new council members kind of get up to speed with what we're talking about. This piece of legislation would put a moratorium until the earlier of either July 31st, 2024, or until the state legislature enacts changes or enacts their policies, or we change any the codified ordinances of the city of Worcester to address these issues. So as I said, I'd like to leave it on second reading so the new council members can become a bit more familiar with it.
Okay, very good. So then Resolution 2023-86 has had its second reading, and we will move on to new business, which at this point will be Resolution 2024-01, which will be introduced by Mr. Huzay. It is an item that is budgeted, so therefore will not need, well, we can approve it immediately at this point because it's a budgeted item. So with that, I'll let Ms. Hamilton read the legislation.
Resolution number 2024-01, a resolution authorizing the Director of Administration to expend additional funds for landscaping services from Bushwhacked Landscaping and allowing for immediate enactment.
Mr. Huzay, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a pretty straightforward resolution. The city contracted with Bushwhacked Landscaping to do some landscaping around the city, some maintenance. You can see here weed control, some pre-emergent application, mulching, pruning, that kind of stuff to button up our public properties for the winter. But we went over the $50,000 threshold, and we're just looking to pay the bills here on this one. Mr. Denny, anything else to add on this?
You're very detailed on that. This is an oversight on our behalf, and just apologize for that, but we got some checks and balances in place so that doesn't happen anymore. So.
Okay, well, with that, Mr. Huzay, do you have a motion on this piece of legislation?
Motion to adopt.
All right, motion to adopt. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Abernathy. Ms. Hamilton, if you call the roll.
Mr. Abernathy.
Yes.
Mr. Malta.
Yes.
Ms. Warden.
Yes.
Mr. Huzay.
Yes.
Ms. Knappich.
Yes.
Mr. Gaffey.
Yes.
Mr. Myers.
Yes.
All right. Resolution 2024-01 has been approved. Thank you all. Move on to Resolution 2024-02, which will be introduced by Mr. Malta, and it will require 3 readings unless he decides to move it to third and final this evening. Before you can give us the lowdown on this, Mr. Malta. I'll have Ms. Hamilton read the legislation.
Resolution number 2024-02, a resolution accepting grant funds from the Ohio Public Works Commission for emergency replacement of an anaerobic digester cover and allowing for immediate enactment.
Mr. Malta, the floor is yours.
I don't have a whole lot on this issue. We're just receiving money from the state to replace the cover on the digester. If there's any other input, I don't think there needs to be, since we're taking some money.
All right, so do you have a motion for us this evening?
I move for immediate enactment.
Okay, so you would motion to suspend the rules of council and place this on third and final reading?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Knappich? Ms. Hamilton, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Malta,
Yes.
Mr. Gaffey,
Yes.
Ms. Knappich,
Yes.
Mr. Myers,
Yes.
Mr. Hussein,
Yes.
Mr. Abernathy,
Yes.
Ms. Borden.
Yes.
All right. And with that, I would assume, Mr. Malta, that you have a motion to adopt Resolution 2024-02?
I would like to move to adopt.
All right, very good. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Hamilton, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Malta,
Yes.
Mr. Gaffey,
Yes.
Ms. Knappich,
Yes.
Mr. Myers,
Yes.
Mr. Hussein,
Yes.
Mr. Abernathy,
Yes.
Ms. Borden.
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, next item of business, ordinance 2024-01, which will also be a item that will require 3 readings unless council so desires to move it along from that standpoint. It will be introduced by Mr. Abernathy, and before that, we'll have Ms. Hamilton read it for us, please.
Ordinance number 2024-01, an ordinance establishing the salary of city council members and president for the terms beginning on or after January 1st, 2025.
Mr. Abernathy, the floor is yours.
Pretty simple. Just setting the salaries for incoming city council, future president of council, and the mayor. Mr. Scavelli, anything you want to add to that one?
I'll turn it over to Mr. Montgomery, and he can, or I can jump in. So, we have a compensation commission that is established by our charter. The purpose of the compensation commission is to be an independent board to review what the salaries of elected officials should be. They recently met, and they have made suggestions for changes to council member salaries and the president of council, and to keep the salary of the mayor the same as it was previously. That is what is being recommended to council to pass. Council cannot pass increases for salaries in their own term, and so these would not take effect until after January 1st, 2025. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I just had one item. There was a previous piece of legislation that established the, 4 years ago, that did council and the mayor, and it had, in that legislation, it established the mayor's compensation that would go up annually by 2.5%, or the average of the, whatever the collective bargaining units got, whichever was lower. So the compensation committee, and that's just meant to happen every year. So the compensation committee decided not to change that. So that salary progression, 2.5, or the lower of the average, will continue to happen every year. So there's no legislation relative to the mayor's salary, because they just said leave it as is. So this is just for council.
And if I could insert one thing here for clarification, this is for any term beginning after January 1, 2025. So none of you are going to get the benefits of this change if it is approved. You know, there'll be future council members and president of council that will see this increase. So I think council understands that. I want to make sure the public understands that none of you are voting for an increase for yourselves.
Okay. Thank you for the clarifications. Mr. Abernathy, do you have a motion for us?
Move to suspend the rules. You want to pass today, or you want to have it?
I'm assuming you want.
Right now,
Do You going to motion to suspend the rules of council and place this on third and final reading?
Yeah, I'll motion it.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
Gaffey? Ms. Hamilton, call the roll, please, on the motion to suspend the rules?
Mr. Gaffey,
Yes.
Ms. Knappich,
Yes.
Mr. Myers,
Yes.
Mr. Huzay,
Yes.
Mr. Abernathy,
Yes.
Ms. Warden,
Yes.
Mr. Malta.
Yes.
All right. And with that, then, assuming, Mr. Abernathy, you want to make a motion to adopt?
Motion?
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Gaffey? Ms. Hamilton, call the roll, please.
Mr. Gaffey,
Yes.
Ms. Knappich,
Yes.
Mr. Myers,
Yes.
Mr. Huzay,
No.
Mr. Abernathy,
Yes.
Ms. Warden,
Yes.
Mr. Malta.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so the motion is approved. Thank you, council. And at this point, we'll move on to our next piece of legislation, which is Resolution 2024-03, that will be presented by Mr. Huzay. And before he enlightens us on this, Ms. Hamilton, if you'll read the
Resolution number 2024-03, a resolution authorizing the Director of Administration to purchase a dump truck and allowing for immediate enactment.
Mr. Huzay, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. Pretty simple resolution before us here. The city uses a lot of dump trucks. We have a need for dump trucks for leaf collection, snow, ice removal, just a bunch of stuff that Mr. Denny's crew does throughout the year, and we are in need of a new one. We have one 2005 International that's kind of exceeded its useful life, and we're looking to get a new one. Mr. Denny, was there anything else to add on the dump truck?
Yeah, just for example of the usage of our trucks, this summer we paved many streets this summer, and we placed about 6,000 ton asphalt. So in order to do that, we have a lot of trucking. I'm happy to say that we were able to drive about 7,200 miles this summer without an accident. So that's back and forth to Miami, Florida 3 times. So kudos to our drivers, but it's also safe equipment that we can run up and down the road. So yeah, this just keeps our fleet in line. So just thank you for this opportunity.
And Mr. Denny, when do you anticipate being able to receive the dump truck?
Yeah, this should be delivered this summer, late summer to us, and we were fortunate enough to find one that's actually built the exact way that we like it. The chassis that we're familiar with in the Kenworth and the build, they're waiting on us. So I said when we have first opportunity we could get to council, we'd be here. So they're kind of waiting for us to give them a PO, and Andre's opened up the PO process here today. So I'm sure tomorrow we can start that process.
Very good.
Mr. Huzay, do you have a motion for us?
Motion to suspend the rules.
Unnecessary? It's a
Unnecessary
budget
motion to
item?
adopt.
All right, very good. A motion to adopt. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Myers? Ms. Hamilton, if you'll call the roll to adopt.
Ms. Knappich,
Yes.
Mr. Myers,
Yes.
Mr. Huzay,
Yes.
Mr. Abernathy,
Yes.
Ms. Warden,
Yes.
Mr. Malta,
Yes.
Mr. Gaffey.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Get it on order. All right, and our last piece of legislation this evening is ordinance 2024-02, which will be sponsored by Mr. Abernathy. And before he, again, regales us on this piece, Ms. Hamilton, if you'll read it, please.
Ordinance number 2024-02, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Food Sphere Corp. And Worcester Local Foods Cooperative, Inc. for community reinvestment area tax incentives with Boo Bears Brew LLC and Ride On Worcester Bicycles, Inc., authorized as tenants for immediate enactment.
Mr. Abernathy, the floor is yours.
All right, well, I think we heard quite a bit about that earlier. Jonathan, anything you want to add?
Sure, thank you very much. This seeks a 75% 10-year exemption with a waiver for the 2 years for every 10-year, I'm sorry, the 2 years performance for every 1 year exemption, as we have in place for our buildings that are being rehabbed in our community reinvestment area. We've additionally received supporting correspondence for the project through the College of Worcester, The Ohio State University, College of Food, Agriculture, Environmental Science, Main Street Worcester, Wayne County Commissioners, which were the previous leaseholders for the applicants moving forward, and also the Wayne Center for the Arts and the Wayne County Farm Bureau. We additionally had a unanimous recommendation from the Worcester Growth Corporation with the Worcester City School District representative having provided a vote and recommendation for the CRA treatment. Specifically, this building is down about 40% of its value from where it had been at its peak over the last 20 years. So this is a structure that, even though there was some active use to it, it has experienced some pressures that have caused its valuation and therefore the revenue that it can produce to come down. Being that these are both nonprofit missions under Ohio law, they are seeking this treatment because it basically provides, when it was discussed earlier how donations and grants are being requested, it basically provides them with a 22% bump, we calculate, in terms of the power of those funds coming in, because essentially this exemption that's being requested would shave approximately that much of a cost off of the long-term operations. It allows those donor dollars and government funds, if they come to fruition through USDA, to be able to be 22% stronger and therefore more likely to get us to the point where we can see this building rehabilitated. And our applicants are still with us here. We also just note that there are 2 tenants who are authorized, and the reason why we have that is that under Ohio law, anytime you have an employed individual inside a tax-exempted building through one of these programs, there are certain provisions that have to be met in terms of their requirements to follow non-discrimination, to provide reporting information to the city so that we can make sure they're following the guidelines. So that's why you see them in there as well. So in total, we have 4 parties that are looking to make a pretty sizable investment in our downtown, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Are we going to see any growth in employee counts through this whole process as they continue to expand?
Their intent is to add employment. So for a total of 16 full-time equivalents, that would be adding 2 additional full-time staff to the 6 full-time staff that they presently have, with the remainder being part-time. So yes, there's a planned increase of employment activity at that location as a result.
Okay.
And it's tied directly to the CRA, to the adoption of the CRA then as well?
Correct. Well, I mean the employment growth would be part of a CRA agreement.
Correct. So I guess where I'm going with this is, as we've seen in the past with other CRAs, if for some reason that they have not met their criteria at that point, then they are subject to
having to repay.
Whatever. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Just to put that out there for everybody if they're unaware of it.
Yeah, Section 8 of the CRA does stipulate that they're going to add 2 new full-time employees in their application.
I was just going to point out, which would be great, but it's going to be also the intangibles that are there, the growth that it can bring to the community otherwise by fostering more food-related industry in the community, which is why I'm sure that we've seen so much broad support for this. We're an agricultural community, so it's nice to see that. And I think there'll be intangible rewards that the city and the county get as a result of this expansion in CRA. And they won't be, we won't be able to look back and say, oh, yes, 2 more employees for them, as much as we might down the road be able to say 5 more businesses for us.
Okay. Mr. Abernathy, do you have a,
I'll motion to suspend rules.
did you have a question, Mr. Hussain?
Yeah, Jonathan, I was struggling with this project a little bit. I was trying to rack my brain on any times a CRA has been used where it creates a vacant building in its wake. Is that something that typically we want to do as a city, or does the county have any plans for that building once Local Roots vacates?
So the building is government county-owned, and of the county commissioners were among the correspondents who provided a letter of support for the project. My understanding is that there are a couple of different possibilities for that site. In particular, however, and I'd ask the applicants to correct me if I'm wrong, I understand that there will be a period of time in which the applicants will continue to reside within the structure. We shared in our summary that the situation here is that we do have a company that is locating from one structure to another across the street. That's happening because of lack of space and the inability to grow and expand the missions. And that is something, as Ms. Waller shared, they have purchased the building. We disclose it in the application as a relocation because this has not happened yet. The issue of the project is how much do they rehab the structure in order to have that occur. We have had situations where we have had actually multiple entities leave leased spaces and go into new spaces that they own and control that we have approved. That would be, the philosophy behind that also is not only is that reinvestment taking place, but a company is going from a leased location into a location that they will have ownership of. That makes them stronger, more sustainable, and likely to have a permanent home in our downtown, which is why we have supported those in the past. So this would fit that mold, where you're going, again, from a structure that, you're going to be held to, a lease situation, into a facility that you now control and own and can make that permanent investment in and call it your permanent home.
Okay, so council's not creating a new precedent by...
No, we've done this several times. One that comes to mind would be ILXO. They had they vacated a leased premises in our city, and they went into a old pub that at the time was valued at $75,000. That building had also lost its value, and that project's been remarkably successful. They've increased their employment goals beyond what they committed, and we've watched that structure grow in valuation to almost $500,000 today with what they've done. So we're kind of hoping to see that trend continue as this is basically modeling after the past work that we've done in the past.
I think you brought up a good point, Mr. Jose, but I think that, and that was a great response. I'm really eager to see this happen because I think in addition to giving Local Roots and FoodSphere and even Right On the ability to thrive, which they've been able to do in the leased space, this also opens up another facility for another business to come in and thrive in our downtown. So, I think this is kind of the ideal situation. You've built a business there, and it's been so successful that you're able to move on and purchase a building, which is, I think, probably every small business's goal. And so hopefully we can see another turnaround of this type through the existing Local Roots building with a business in the future.
Okay.
Thank you.
Myers?
Yeah, support this legislation 100%. I'm a member and I shop there regularly. I was there today. So I do shop regularly and support what they're doing in the mission. It is, in the past, though, the administration has said that any project that is going to go forward without our CRA money, you've usually recommended against. They've obviously purchased the building and they're fundraising, so they're going to go forward. So it's a little bit contrary to what we normally would hear. So I appreciate you're supporting this time because I support it and I'm glad to see this going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that is an interesting point.
I don't believe that this project is going forward as presented without the exemption. If either Mr. Sherman or Mr. Morello would like to speak to that.
Please. Yeah, please. Yeah, just give us your name.
Hi, my name's Adam Schwederman. I'm the Executive Director of Local Roots. Thank you for your time. Just to highlight on that point, what the picture we tried to paint earlier a little bit is that we have a fundraising target that we have set. We are happy to have passed with unanimous approval in front of the Zoning Board and the Planning Commission to set the plans forward in place. But we are still in architectural design phase right now. So we are submitting building drawings and looking at different scenarios. And right now, we haven't purchased equipment yet. We haven't finalized that design yet. So our hope is to grow the impact of the organization as substantially as we possibly can. But we also don't want to kneecap the organization, taking on debt that we can't service, potential, I don't even want to say it, I would, risk of bankruptcy later in life because we inappropriately manage funds early on. So our hope is that with approval of this, if you would grace us with that we would be able to take those funds, reinvest that back into the building, build a bigger, stronger building for the organization to flourish long term, and then we can gain those real estate tax dollars back in the long term after the improvements are made.
What would this project look like if you didn't get it?
Well, we don't know, I guess I would say. We do have a lot of grant applications out right now, but there are kind of three phases that we're looking at. The scenario planning, the most modest scenario would be no new construction of the existing facility. Local Roots right now, in its current space at 140 South Walnut's a 9,000 square foot operation. Right on is a 12,000 square foot on the existing box. So when we add in incremental office space, a little bit extra storage, right on has a sublet planned in there. What we see is that we really don't have any more market space for new producers, any more kitchen space to be able to grow into. That would also be retrofitting the existing building to put in a new commercial kitchen, which makes our dollars less efficient. And with that much plumbing, electric, HVAC, all sorts of things we really need to spend your dollars most efficiently in new construction of that space. The second option would be, it's kind of our Goldilocks we're hoping on, is that we would put 4,000 square feet of new commercial kitchen space on the south side of the building in between the existing footprint of Ride On and the Wayne Center for the Arts to the south side. There was a grassy spot, so that would be all new construction. The third scenario, which we're hopeful for, but we're not sure that we can obtain, again, depending on grant funding and CRA and all sorts of other mix of funding uses, would be to add a 2,000 square foot seating area, event center, to the southeast quadrant of that facility, so that we could host conferences, large groups of people. It would have a 200-person seating capacity. And we have design plans kind of set right now to potentially rough in construction for that if we were able to afford that in the long term. But in short answer to your question, we still have a lot of variables on the funding side, which would determine the level of construction we can take on.
So I guess I would flip back as well. So if this goes through, your full plan is you're going to be able to execute all this with what we're proposing tonight.
Yes.
Jonathan, if I can, do you, what kind of increase in property value would you, I know this is a wild kind of guess, but I'd be curious to your anticipation on property value down the road that would be additionally beneficial to the community.
So with the structure, again, having lost its value, that creates a depreciating pressure on the structures immediately around it. When we do run the analysis, what we're finding is that typically newer structures or structures that are rehabbed can get a valuation bump of up to $80 a square foot, or if it's brand new, more sophisticated real estate, which some of this could be because of the nature of the equipment they would have to have, we added a factor of $110,000. I'm sorry, $110 a square foot. Right now, the value of that structure is hovering around $25, $30 a square foot. So the ideal renovation, if it were to take place, it could bump the building's value up from $400,000 to potentially $1.3. So with that, that takes your tax obligation from $8,000 a year to $18,000 to $27,000 a year. So what they're looking for is an exemption. It's worth about $17,000 to $20,000. I apologize. It's worth about $35,000 to $47,000 a year for 10 years. That's how they get that 22% bump in terms of lowering the amount of money that they need to finance and pull together with donor funds in order to make the project go forward. So this makes it 22% more likely. Long term, as that exemption, well, immediately what happens is we do see, for the community standpoint, if we're looking at the fiscal side of it, we go from a revenue of $8,200 a year to roughly $17,000 to $20,000 of taxes that will be paid, provided that the project's able to move forward as planned in those first 10 years. And then after that period is up, after that 10 years, we would expect to see reach that annual obligation of $35,000 to $47,000. So that then is revenue that is largely going to the schools. A good chunk of it does go to our city general fund as well, and also Wayne County to fund their services. So it's an impactful change for that area where there's an immediate return. And hopefully, the thing that it does immediately also is it alleviates that depreciating pressure of the structures that are nearby.
I just have one other question. I know that when we were talking about the new comprehensive plan, that whole area down there was talked about as an arts district or a potential arts district. How would this potentially fit into that?
So this geographically serves as the main gateway into that district along Walnut Street. That particular corridor, I know that our development team, we've worked in the past on a couple of different pursuits and still will intend to in the future to help brighten up that corridor, looking at improvements to Walnut Street going down past the Wayne Center for the Arts. We had their letter of support too, indicating that they felt that this helped to support their mission. Is they're looking to also undertake a major investment at their structure, catty corner from this further south. But its geographic location, having the ability to generate additional economic activity in that locale and bring in traffic and bring in hopefully foot traffic further south into this area makes the opportunity for an arts district a little bit more viable, because now we're one block closer to the Arts Center, which also wants to have its own outdoor programming, and so we get these just this human activity that is more apparent, more out, more connecting, and helping to help facilitate a positive environment that makes that redevelopment of the whole neighborhood more attractive for future developers.
I understand that. It would be wonderful. I know Local Roots has local artists who sell their things there, which is where I buy all my Christmas presents. But if somehow that could be highlighted too as part of that arts district, and have maybe, some coordination with the Wayne Center for the Arts together, so that, one of the things we also heard on the Comprehensive Planning Committee was, more places in that arts area for people to go with families. And I think this would be one of those, potentially one of those places. So, okay, thank you.
Mr. Malay, while I don't have a vote on this at all, I guess I want to make sure, I want to make sure everyone's clear, because to me, this is a procedural point that maybe, I want to make sure that I'm not misunderstanding what you said, so, and misunderstanding how this has been presented to council, but at this point, so the Food Sphere people, the applicant on this CRA, has already purchased the property that they're planning to renovate.
Correct.
So at this point, how many other projects have we had in the city of Worcester that were denied CRA because of the fact that they said they didn't need the money, or that they had already proceeded to move forward?
There are three that I am aware of. However, this specific project is for the rehabilitation and expansion of this area. As Mr. Schwitterman just shared, what they're looking to do with this relocation.
Well, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying, though, I guess I want to make the point to the rest of council that at this point, if that's an issue that's not been properly dealt with, then, because in past experiences, I know that we had cases where they were denied because of that involvement, and so at this point, I just want to make it perfectly clear to the council members that at this point, that's not going to be a limiting factor, even though it seems somewhat counterintuitive from the standpoint, if it was limiting previously, how it wouldn't be limiting now.
The factor that we look at is, in terms of whether or not we make a recommendation, is if the project is going to move forward without the exemption, then we would not be recommending it. As we look at the mathematics of this, we don't have confidence that it can move forward as presented without community support. So that is where the recommendation in this case comes in, because...
But they've already made steps to proceed, even without the CRA, though.
No, they have not made steps to proceed with this expansion. I'm sorry.
But they purchased the building.
Yes, most of our projects, there's ownership. You need to have an owner of the structure in order to have the project move forward. So the majority of our projects, there's typically going to be ownership of the property, or especially in the case of a rehab, you're going to have probably a longer term ownership with that. Occasionally we do get projects where there's a real estate, and we see this more on the basic sector side, where you have a proposal to purchase that's contingent on tax incentive. That occurs as well. In this particular instance, is Local Roots moving to the structure? That is their plan. That happens with or without the exemption. The question before the city is, does the addition and does the rehabilitation take place that allows for additional employment growth take place? That is what is being questioned.
Could I add one thing, please?
Certainly.
Yeah, I just wanted to state just in full transparency, especially.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Just if I could provide a little bit of clarity, again, Adam Schwederman, Executive Director of Local Roots, thanks. So, because some of you are members, I can share this, but also in full transparency of the point of the CRA and the need for the funding. To date, we have secured a mortgage to purchase the property. So the purchase price is public record, you can look at it if you'd like to. We have purchased the property, we paid a down payment on that, and then we received a little less than $700,000 total between philanthropic funds and grant funding. So we have a mortgage, purchased property, we have about $700,000 in funding.
Can I interrupt? Is the loan closed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. The budgetary estimates that we've received from contractors for the full project cost are ranging somewhere, north and south of $3 million. So we are far off from, a project that is financially secure at this point. So that help is needed, if that is helpful.
Yes. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to just clarify, at least my personal perspective, and perhaps others on council, we support the project. I think there is some question on council as to the consistency of the administration and their recommendations on this, and I think that might be something we look at with council at a future time and not tie it to this particular CRA, because again, I do support this, so I'm going to recommend we take a look at the process at a future time.
Are we nervous that we're setting a precedent, though?
We're not.
I don't think, Mr. Abernathy, I think the way it's being presented is kind of, the way they're doing it is, the building is being purchased and they're going to move. What they're applying for is funds to add on to the building or add on to a kitchen. So that part will not happen without additional support. So it is a two-part process, the way they've positioned this. So although I do have some concerns over the CRA process, as I've mentioned in the past, I think I can support this because, again, the fact that they purchased the building is part one. They have that funds and the financing secured for that. Part two is what they're applying for, and that's to add on to the building, which they won't do if they don't get the funding, at the kitchen and the conference and meeting room space. Those are the wish-to-haves that they need funding for. So it's kind of like two parts, and one will get confused, but part one has happened, but part two is what they're saying is on the decision tree there.
Okay. Mr. Montgomery?
And this is not precedent setting. We have done this before.
Exactly what I was going to say, and I think maybe there's a confusion between some CRAs that were, that were asked for Greenfield, which we do that sometimes as well. And I think those are probably the ones that we're more familiar with when maybe, property was already owned, but maybe somebody went ahead and broke ground. They're already committed to building the building. That's typically when maybe there hasn't been a recommendation from administration, because they already owned it. We weren't looking at whether they owned the property or not. Most of them already owned the property, but then they went ahead and broke ground and started building the building. Those are the ones I can remember. As far as downtown goes, in our reinvestment area, council's done that many, many, many times over the last 20 years. Most of those buildings were owned by an owner. They bought them already. They came and said, hey, I want to renovate this and put a restaurant on the first floor and residential in the top 2 floors. And overwhelmingly, council has approved those. Very, very, very similar, almost exactly the same as what this is right now.
Part of the background for that is we always take a look at treatment of CRA as a last resort in order to enable a project to move forward.
Thank you. So with that, Mr. Abernathy, do you have a?
I will stand by my original motion to suspend rules.
All right, so suspend the rules of council, place this on third and final reading. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Knappich, second. Ms. Hamilton, if you call the roll, please.
Mr. Myers?
Yes.
Mr. Huzay?
Yes.
Mr. Abernathy?
Yes.
Ms. Borden?
Yes.
Mr. Malta?
Yes.
Mr. Gaffey?
Yes.
Ms. Knappich?
Yes.
All right, rules have been suspended. Mr. Abernathy, do you have a motion for it?
Motion.
To adopt.
Motion to adopt. Is there a second? Mr. Myers, seconds. Ms. Hamilton?
Mr. Myers?
Yes.
Mr. Huzay?
Yes.
Mr. Abernathy?
Yes.
Ms. Borden?
Yes.
Mr. Malta?
Yes.
Mr. Gaffey?
Yes.
Ms. Knappich?
Yes.
All right, ordinance 2024-02 has been approved. All right, very good. We've moved on to the miscellaneous portion, and Ms. Hamilton, we did not have anyone sign up for miscellaneous, did we? Okay, well, now we get to hear from the rest of the council members, so I guess at this point, just from a time standpoint, we'll start with our newest member, Mr. Huzay. Do you have anything to add this evening?
Thank you for your votes tonight. I hope everybody had a happy new year and looking forward to getting into it.
All right, sounds good. Mr. Abernathy?
Nothing to add, Mr. President.
Ms. Knappich?
I just want to say welcome back to everybody. Welcome to our new members. Obviously, everybody came well prepared. Good luck to the new mayor, and welcome to your spot as well. And I'm looking forward to working with everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Gaffey?
Yeah, I would just say, likewise, I'm thankful to be here, honored to be able to sit here and deal with city business. I look forward to working with each and every person on council and in the administration. So, thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Ms. Warden?
Happy New Year to everybody. Welcome to our new members, and great job tonight on introducing legislation at your very first meeting. I'm impressed, because I think I was nervous I still get nervous. So.
I do too.
Great job. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Malta?
I would also like to wish everybody a Happy New Year. Thank you all for coming. That's all I have tonight.
Mr. Myers?
Thank you. I just want to say thanks to Shannon, Matt, and Adam for coming tonight in support of the CRA. We look forward to making the move and all the fun stuff you guys are going to be working on again. Full support of what you guys are doing down there. I want to welcome all of our new council members. I look forward to getting to know you guys. And although I've known this participant for quite some time, I do want to say congratulations to Mayor Reynolds. Thank you, and welcome aboard.
All right, well,
Motion to adjourn.
all right. Motion to, is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you all.
So Steve, for the next 4 years, you're going to be plus honoring you guys.
Sometimes it'll
I guess so. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm the junior at large.
With the wages, because it said, it said no, but Craig's like, do you want us to spend? I'm like, ooh, wait a minute, hold on, it said no. So I was like,
Yeah.
do we want to let it sit for 30 days? And all of a sudden, it's like,